personal experience and curiosity. I always thought my attic was just full of dust and forgotten junk. Then the echo started. It wasn't just my voice. It was something else, something chillingly familiar yet utterly alien. Join me as I uncover the disturbing truth behind the phantom voice that refuses to stay silent. When my grandmother passed away, her house was left to me, a weathered Victorian with chipped blue paint and ivy clawing at the porch railings. The locals called it the house that rocks. I thought they meant it swayed during storms until I heard it myself. On my first night there, after unpacking dusty boxes and shutting off flickering lamps, I heard it, the faint creak of a wooden rocker coming from upstairs. At first, I brushed it off as wind, but the sound had rhythm. Low, back and forth, like someone comforting a child. The house was supposed to be empty. The nursery upstairs had been abandoned since the 1940s after the tragic death of my grandmother's younger sister, Clara. I found the door to the nursery the next morning. It was painted a dull pink, nearly faded to gray, with a brass handle so cold it bit into my skin. When I pushed it open, stale air and dust drifted out like a sigh. The room was frozen in time. A cracked cradle, yellowed wallpaper with rabbits and stars, and a rocking chair facing the window. It didn't move during the day, but I noticed something strange. The wood beneath it was polished clean, unlike the thick layer of dust everywhere else. Someone or something had been sitting there recently. That night I left my phone on record, just to prove to myself it was nothing. Around 2:37 a.m. the audio captured it, the unmistakable creak. 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 Then came a faint rhythmic sound beneath it, a lullaby whispered softly. When I listened closely, my chest tightened. It wasn't wind. It wasn't music. It was a voice humming "Rock-a-bye Baby." I ran upstairs, heart pounding, flashlight trembling. The chair was still moving, slowly rocking, though the air was still and heavy. I froze at the doorway, my breath fogging in the cold. And then, from the cradle beside it, something shifted. Faint rustle. The blanket inside the cradle moved. The next morning, I convinced myself it had been a trick of the light. A draft, maybe. But the blanket had changed position, no denying that. I hadn't touched it. The lullaby echoed in my head all day, looping softly as though my own memory was haunted. I decided to call my mother. Did Grandma ever mention the nursery? Yes. There was silence on the line before she sighed. You heard it, didn't you? That answer froze me. She explained that when she was a child, the same thing happened. The sound of the rocking chair at night, the voice humming lullabies. Grandma used to say it was Clara's mother's spirit, still soothing her baby who never grew up. But it stopped when you were born, Mom said, her voice trembling. Grandma locked the nursery and told us never to go inside again. That night, I couldn't resist. Had to know. I brought my camera and placed it on the dresser facing the cradle. I stayed downstairs watching the feed on my laptop. Nothing happened for hours. Then, around 3 a.m. movement. The chair began to rock, gently. The cradle shifted slightly, like something unseen had leaned on it. But what made my stomach twist was the toy mobile above the cradle. It began spinning slowly. I hadn't touched it. The humming started again, louder this time. Then, something entered the frame. Faint, translucent, shaped like a woman sitting in the rocking chair. Her face was turned toward the cradle, her mouth moving soundlessly. I bolted upstairs, but the room was empty again. Only the chair moving, and the faintest scent of baby powder lingering in the cold. I didn't sleep after that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that faint outline, the woman's silhouette, her face turned toward the cradle, humming what I could only describe as a mother's grief. The next morning, I found my camera lying on the nursery floor. The tripod was still upright, but the lens was cracked clean through. The footage ended abruptly at 3:06 a.m., right after the figure turned her head toward the camera. She had looked at me. I replayed that moment over and over. Her eyes were pale, cloudy, and there was something clutched against her chest. When I paused the video and brightened the frame, I saw it clearly. She was holding a small stuffed rabbit. That same rabbit now sat inside the cradle. I felt my breath shorten. I hadn't seen it there before. Its button eyes seemed to stare through me, its fabric stiff with age. I reached out to pick it up, but the floorboards beneath the cradle creaked, then shifted. It wasn't a normal creak. It was a hollow sound like something underneath. My pulse hammered as I knelt down and ran my fingers along the cracks. The wood was loose. I pried it open with a screwdriver from the hallway, and a cloud of dust rose, choking the air. Beneath the plank was a small metal tin. Inside were several yellowed pages, children's drawings done in crayon, scribbled houses, a smiling woman, and a little girl with pigtails. On the back of one drawing, written in childish scrawl, were the words, "Mama said don't sing after the dark. It wakes the crying one." The paper slipped from my hand. I looked back toward the cradle, and the rabbit was gone. I heard a faint creaking sound from behind me. The rocking chair. It was moving again, slow and deliberate. But this time it wasn't empty. Something small sat there. A shape like a child's body, barely solid, rocking back and forth, clutching that rabbit in its hands. Its head tilted toward me, jerking slightly with each rock. The air grew colder. My breath came out white. Then I heard it. A whisper, soft and broken, echoing from beneath the floorboards I had just opened. "Why did you wake her up?" The whisper wasn't the woman's. It was smaller, higher. A child's voice, fragile and furious. The light bulb flickered above me, and for the first time I realized there were two presences in that nursery, and only one wanted me there. The voice beneath the floorboards didn't stop. It whispered in short, uneven breaths, like it was struggling to form words through sobs. Each word came with a soft tapping sound. Fingernails, maybe, or something small scraping at the wood. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the cracked camera. My first thought was to leave, to run straight out of that house and never look back. But something kept me there. A pull, a curiosity so strong it felt unnatural. I wanted to know what was crying under that floor. The air thickened, heavy with rot and dust. The nursery door slammed shut behind me. I jumped, spinning around, but no one was there. Only the faint creak of the cradle swaying again, as if someone had just touched it. "Who's there?" I managed to whisper. No answer. Only that soft crying, growing louder. I knelt beside the hole in the floor again. My flashlight flickered, its beam trembling as though the light itself was afraid to touch the dark below. The smell coming from the gap was foul, wet, earthy, and old. Then something moved. A small, pale hand emerged from the darkness. The skin looked wrinkled, waterlogged. Tiny fingers curled against the wood, trembling. I froze, unable to breathe. "Mama!" A small voice whimpered. My heart lurched. It was a child, or it sounded like one. But when I reached toward it, the hand shot forward, grabbing my wrist with inhuman strength. The temperature dropped instantly, a searing cold crawling up my arm. I screamed and yanked back, falling against the rocking chair. The hand withdrew beneath the floorboards, leaving behind thin streaks of dirt and something darker. Blood or decay, I couldn't tell. From the corner of the room I heard humming. That same lullaby as before. The one the woman had sung in the recording. Turned. The shadow in the cradle was back. The shape of the woman bent over, her hair hanging like wet vines. She was cradling something invisible in her arms, swaying, her mouth moving soundlessly until her face lifted toward me. Her lips were stretched into a smile too wide, and her voice cracked as she sang. "Hush now, the crying one wakes." The floor beneath me rattled violently. A scream erupted from the darkness below, high-pitched, endless, and inhuman. I fell to my knees, covering my ears, as dozens of tiny hands pressed against the boards under me. Pressing, pushing, trying to get out. The woman's figure vanished, and in her place, the cradle tipped over. The stuffed rabbit rolled across the floor and stopped at my feet. Its seams had split open. Something inside it was moving. The stuffed rabbit twitched again. Its torn belly pulsed, a wet sound coming from inside it, like something breathing through cloth. I kicked it away and scrambled toward the door, but it wouldn't open. The handle twisted endlessly, like turning a rusted screw into bone. Behind me, the crying began again. Louder, sharper. No longer one voice, many. Dozens of children wailing beneath the floorboards. The sound shook the nursery, rattling the crib and peeling flakes of paint from the walls. Then came the whisper, soft, female, right against my ear. "You shouldn't have woken them." I spun and she was standing there. The woman from the lullaby. Her dress was soaked dark with something black and dripping, her hair clinging to her hollow face. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with light, but with reflection, as if she were looking through me. I stumbled back, pressing against the locked door. What do you want?" She smiled slowly, her neck bending at an impossible angle. "To finish what I began." She lifted a pale finger and pointed toward the cradle. The rabbit was gone. In its place lay a small bundle of something wrapped in moldy fabric. It moved slightly, and a small cry escaped from it. Without meaning to, I stepped closer. My body wasn't mine anymore. My hands trembled as I reached down and pulled the fabric away, revealing a baby's face, or what was left of one. Its skin was soft and gray, its eyes hollow sockets. The mouth opened wide, too wide, and from its throat came a deep, echoing moan. The floor burst open beneath me. Hands, hundreds of tiny pale hands, shot up from the darkness, grabbing my ankles, my arms, my clothes. I screamed, thrashing, but they were everywhere, pulling, clawing, dragging me downward into the cold. The last thing I saw was the woman kneeling beside the cradle, humming that same lullaby. Her lips curved in something like peace as the floorboards closed over me. Then silence. Darkness swallowed everything. I fell through damp soil, through the faint outlines of faces half buried. Children frozen in silent screams. Their eyes followed me. Their mouths whispered words I couldn't understand. When I woke, I wasn't in the house anymore. I was under it. I can still hear the lullaby through the floor above me. I can still see the cracks of light where the next visitor walks. And sometimes when I cry, the woman sings back, softly, "Sleep now, my little one. The nursery never empties."